One of the most interesting characters in the Gospels is Zacchaeus. We meet him only in St. Luke's Gospel. He's, as you'll recall, a fairly short fellow who has to climb up onto a tree to see Jesus amongst the crowds. And that's how we all learn about him as kids in Catholic school. But I'm going to read the passage about Zacchaeus in St. Luke's Gospel. Then I'm going to read the fuller accounts that are given in Maria Valtorta's writings. And I'll say accounts because there's the time before Zacchaeus converts, before that encounter that we all know about from St. Luke's Gospel. There's the actual encounter and conversion. And then there's Zacchaeus afterwards. So there's a lot we can learn about this man by reading Maria Valtorta's writings. But I'll just give you what St. Luke tells us. It's very concise and he tells us what we really need to know. But he obviously hasn't got the space to elaborate in any way other than the other evangelists have. We find Zacchaeus in chapter 19 of St. Luke's Gospel. And I'll just read this time from the Revised Standard Version Catholic edition. Second Catholic edition as it is. He entered Jericho and was passing through. Speaking of Jesus now. And there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and rich. And he sought to see who Jesus was, but could not on account of the crowd, because he was small of stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he made haste and came down, and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, he has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I've defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. And that's the end of that passage. And Luke tells it vividly. And I give it to you to contrast it with what I'm going to read from Maria Valtorta's writings next. This vision is given to Maria Valtorta, and it's sometime before the description of Jesus' encounter with Zacchaeus in chapter 19 of Luke's Gospel. It's given to Maria Valtorta on the 19th of February 1945. It's chapter 112 in the 1986 English edition, Poem of the Man God, and this is volume 1. And it's titled Jesus in the House of Lazarus. Martha speaks of the Magdalene. I won't read the whole chapter, just part of it that relates to Zacchaeus and also gives us some insight into Judas Iscariot's character. I see the market square in Jericho, its trees and shouting vendors. In a corner there is Zacchaeus, the tax collector, intent on his legal and illegal extortions. He must deal also in jewellery, because I see him weighing and appraising jewels and valuables. I do not know whether they are given to him as payment of taxes instead of money, or whether they are sold for other necessities.